Hi, everyone, and good morning to me. Well, into the good night for Mariano. Today, I am really glad that we can host Mariano Roman in one take because life has no rehearsal. Mariano is calling today from Mumbai, which is as far away as you can get from me. And he's got an extraordinary background you're going to enjoy. Mariano went through every single aspect of advertising. Mariano worked for Agulla Bachetti, which was a creative icon in Buenos Aires. So it was when advertising was integrated and everybody, the creatives, the media, research, everybody was on the same team. Then he launched media companies. He was with Universal McCann, he was with Mediacom. So he saw the huge change from we're all a team to, hey, I'm media, don't touch my budget. Oh, I'm creative, don't touch my budget. So he saw that. Today he's working for Aleph Holdings. Aleph Holdings is a media selling company, and it's a completely different game, of course. And Mariano is in charge of two things: technology and programmatic, both of which are some of the most, I don't know, some of the most exciting things happening on digital advertising, especially programmatic. I am a believer in programmatic. I used programmatic 10 years ago, 12 years ago, when I launched Equifax in the Hispanic market. So Mariano has seen the entire chaos that is marketing and advertising today. So Mariano, welcome.
Thanks, Marcelo, and adding to your comment. And we're still here, right? I mean, we haven't crashed any plane yet. No, it's really a pleasure. I mean, I was following some of your conversations. It's really fun and really good to see also good people and you put some time and passion doing this. This is great to see. Thanks for the invitation, definitely.
I mean, couldn't have less. And, it's been a long time coming. I mean, we've crossed paths all over the place. We have probably like 2,500 common friends in the industry. I mean, it's really incredible. So, like everybody our age anyway, we've gone through our share of important moments, tectonic changes, everything. But let's focus on one or two of your most dramatic, decisive moments.
Yeah, I think the the first one, chronologically speaking, one of the biggest one, and the thing that triggered the domino effect of my career was when I left Argentina. And I remember I was an Argentine having a chat with a German in Switzerland about a job in Mexico. So I was, okay, this is pretty much global as it gets, right?
Yep.
So after chatting with my wife at the airport, going back to Argentina, we decided to take the risk and move to Mexico. That time to become the CEO of Mediacom Mexico, and later on that time and so on. So that was a big change. I mean, I was happy. I was really having a lot of fun at UM back in the day. My camp were very nice people and very good teachers, colleagues. I didn't need to get out of the country. I mean, to be honest with you, that time Argentina, 2001, 2002, we have 5 presidents in a week. So it was kind of a, are you sure you want to stay here? So I think it was a good moment to try something internationally. And I couldn't really be happy about that big change because living in Mexico was a big shock culturally. It took me a couple of years to really be able to make a transformation, and that led to running Latin America. So that changed the whole thing. And I always say that beyond being good or bad, give me additional dimension and perspective of things, professionally and of course also personally. So that's the biggest, I think, the big main change or the big moment in my career.
And then, of course, there's been other changes. We went from integrated to media. You went from integrated to media only to now selling media. Tell me more about that change.
Yeah,
How did that come
also,
about?
well, back in the day when going to Aguja or even before that, Casares, Gray, back in the 90s, everything was full service. And honestly, in a way, I miss that because I believe you got a problem, you got a branch problem, and you fix it. And you can fix. It's like you have to fix the whole body. You can fix just one thing
Yeah,
and leave the other part broken, right? So it doesn't make any sense.
exactly.
So I still miss those holistic, really holistic, integrated solutions. I think that's the best way we can work. Unfortunately, I think the specialization came afterwards and technology came afterwards, so we have to be more precise and go deeper. And then you have a team of surgeons working on your sick body, right? But I think that was also I think it was a boomer for me to leave from the full integrated piece to the specialization in media. Now, once you're in media, you understood really that you can go much deeper,
Yeah.
and when data come across our lives, even was quite imperfect data back in the day, it still is, to be honest, personally. Uh, you open up a different culture and different minds, a different approach, and more related to not only what the brand says, but the impact of that in sales, the impact of that in metrics. So I think that way a media specialization was needed. But then I remember waking one day. At that time, I was working at EPP, and WPP means white plastic products. But whoever have worked at the WPP, and this is between us girls, who would tell you that WPP means actually white pay people. And I wake up one day saying, "Hey," to my wife is Sole. I mean, this is it. I want to change sport, and not I want to change team. I want to change sport. And I was lucky enough. I mean, I always have a lot of luck in my career, talking to people, bosses, colleagues, and so on. I had a chance to meet a very strange guy. I love him. I mean, Gaston, my boss, my partner and boss nowadays, who told me, Brabaki, that we were in Montreux, in Festival of Media, remember? And he told me, "Hey, Marian, why don't you come and join me?" And the first reaction was, "What for?" I mean, I didn't see that. I mean, really, they need to change in a sense. But I mean, already was embraced in digital because one of my clients was Dell, so I really learned a lot out of them. And also was part of a extended team who was involved in taxis. So at that time, it was programmatic. Before taxis, actually, it was like 14 years ago, 15 years ago. It was in diapers. But the whole thing of stop buying media, start buying people, I think was quite interesting for me. So when Gaston told me, "Hey, join me," I think this is digital. Definitely, this is where I want to be, because digital is not the future. Digital is the present.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It changes the way we express globally, even as a human being. Remember when I was younger, I go to a light, listen to the music, and now you put the cell phone, right? So the technology changed the way we express ourselves. So in that sense, definitely I want to go to digital. And it was funny because I remember the first meeting I remember was with Julian Porras, a friend of ours, and actually CEO of Omnicom Latin America. And it was awkward because until the week before I was his competition, and that week I was I'm selling something to you, and it was fun. And I always been really passionate about what we do. I think that's part of a secret. And I could say, okay, I can do that. And of
Yeah.
course, don't bullshit a bullshitter, right? I mean, when the other guy knows you've been in his shoes, it's much easier.
Yes,
So
very much.
we try to do now with Analef on the media side of the business, if you want, is to really understand the whole ecosystem, client, agencies, needs, and also the platforms. Because when we want to launch TikTok in South Africa or in Nigeria, good luck, my friend. I mean, something has to go to Lagos, and I've been there. Trust me, you don't want to go there. So
I didn't want to go there. I didn't go when I had to go.
it's quite challenging to say the least. And trust me, I lived in Mexico for 8 years. I was the happiest guy on earth. So, with all respect to Nigeria, it has its challenges. So, honestly, I think the common theme about, if you want, my career in a way, is change. And how you embrace change, I think, it makes a difference. I remember old books of Peter Drucker saying about the two beer company, one glass, one can, and one evolved and the other get obsolete
Right.
because one was doing bottles, the other was packaging beer. So it's the different mindset you have against what you do based on what you do. So I always help fixing the problem or delivering a solution, connecting audience and demand. And and I can do this either way of the ecosystem. And I think for me was a bridge to be able to embrace that change and make it happen.
So let
Uh,
me.
it's, it's always funny when you're on the other side to see I was that guy. I was doing that. Really? Whoa. It's that's kind of funny things.
Well,
They give you more perspective.
let me guide the conversation. I don't want to color your answer, but I've been talking to a lot of advertising people, as you
Yes.
can imagine, right? And we all agree that,
Nobody's perfect.
yes, I know. But we all agree on one thing. There was a huge change. Not so much digital, non digital, whatever. That was not the point. The point was programmatic. At some point, we had to train people that you do not buy media and then get some audience associated with it. You buy an audience, which brings a completely different discipline in your mind because you need to think, how many people do I need to buy anyway? What kind of response ratios am I going to be measuring? Because, I hate vanity metrics, like CTR. Please
That's
spare me.
bullshit.
Yeah, it's bullshit. But, at some point, you need to figure out, like, if I buy this, then that happened, right? So your whole mind changes from buying media into almost being a continuously running attribution model, which is how my mind works. You're always looking for, like what happened,
Yep.
what happened, what happened. So that could be one, but like, so now you've been in the middle of everything. You've been on the creative agency side, you've been on the media side, you're on the selling side. If you had to pinpoint one single change that basically nobody could have expected, what would it be?
Honestly, when I first started dancing with programmatic, I didn't find it that complicated
I don't find it complicated at all.
at all. I think there was a very smooth transition because I always consider myself a data guy.
Yeah, me too.
So be able to start talking to Marcelo specifically,
Yep,
understand that I better reach him in the right context engagement rather than the massive media which costs too much money
yep,
anyway. Is much more efficient, and actually it's much more personal. So honestly, programmatic, I think it was an easy transition for me, and I think in that sense, the concept of buying people instead of buying media, I always have a draw, which is always a kind of funnel. So okay, we usually fish for all this media, try to find this guy.
yep.
Now we do this way. Now we find the guy, and then we buy whatever he does, or on the best way he does. But I think that the theme here is change. So comparing creativity, working together, working separately, working in digital, working in programmatic, trading as well. I think that the constant theme is change and not to be afraid of. And again, I started programmatic literally in my 40s, and
Me
I
too.
don't give I don't give a shit about it. I
Me too.
mean,
I actually bought programmatic when I was maybe, well, when it was starting. So I was like maybe 50, maybe
yeah, I mean,
45, something like that.
uh,
But
that's
let me throw another thing at you. You come, like I did, from a totally integrated environment. I mean,
yep.
I was a creative guy when I started. And actually, I was 8 years on the creative side. I won 2 awards. I didn't talk to media people, they were beneath me. And then I became one of them. So, but it was
Karma,
very,
karma.
yes. No, but it was fairly easy if I had a question or I had anything, an idea, to just knock on somebody's door and say, hey, I got this idea. And then somebody will come out and, we'll talk about it. Do you think this is a good idea, bad idea? Will it work? Is it too expensive? Whatever. But it was fairly easy to talk to anybody who had their fingers on the pulse of the client. And it was a given, actually. Today, the other aspect that I've seen is a huge fragmentation on the industry. So where before we used to have the creative sitting next to the media guys and the research guys, today we have guys who only specialize in, I don't know, influencers or SEO or PPC. Uh, has that shocked you at all as a professional, or is this
Well,
something that you kind
not
of suck
really
on?
shocked me, and this is going to sound awkward and rude. I think disappointed me because I think in a way we're losing. I mean, when I started, I could see Hugo Casares, a very creative guy, go, or Ramiro or Carlo Bachetti or even the media people, uh, too many to mention, and you admire those guys, and those guys knows his shit up and down. Now I see honestly so much specialization that actually people are not that experts as they should be. I mean, and
Yep.
they don't have the global vision. And so it's really a master of something, but you don't control. You cannot see the whole wood. So you lose perspective, and again you lose kind of the dimension to do a great analysis of what's needed because you only see the tree.
Yes. I
In a way, sometimes I feel that clients rely more and more because structure and costs in the ecosystem, and the ecosystem is like everybody's fighting his own fight, but nobody is on the hill looking at the war.
right.
So in that sense, I'm a little bit something frustrated. And also, I mean, no offense to procurement people, but when procurement people invade the game, nobody cares about the brand. It's just give me the next Q results, and I don't give a shit about the brand. The brand is so good, luckily, that holds even the procurement people. So again, no offense to procurement people, but I think uh, in a way I miss that romanticism, if you want, on the golden era of the Mad Men about okay, let's talk about let's really talk about the brand because at the end of the day, that's what drives sales. I mean, people don't
Yes.
buy a product; people buy brands. And if we lose that, even today at Aleph, when we sell platforms digitally, globally speaking, every country, even here in India, uh, you talk about people using brands. So
Yes.
people business and it's brand driven. Everything should be focused on that. And sometimes it's disappointing that because the brand manager is way too young, because the Q results are driving the business and not brand equity or brand objectives or brand initiatives. Sometimes we get lost at sea, and sometimes I feel frustrated about that. To be honest with you,
And then, since you mentioned young, you know, we we live in we live and we work in an industry that a friend of mine said it eats its old. I mean, they eat us alive. I mean, somebody with white hair, like I'm not gonna get a job somewhere. Trust me. So, what would you say to like a CEO about older workers? You being one of them, by the way. Me being one.
no, absolutely. I mean, of course, the obvious answer is hire the best talent, but I mean that's beyond the obvious. Is what is the best talent? I mean, I like French. I don't speak French, but I like when French says 97, they say 97, which literally means 4 times 20 plus 10 plus 7. Weird, right?
Yes.
So I'm 56, and I always say, hey, I have 26-year experience being 30. So I think age is just the model of the car. Doesn't mean the mileage you have and how I can use the mileage. And my brain is wired with analogies, right? I use with a lot of analogies. And I mean, I like planes, I like movies, so I think about Top Gun Maverick. And on one hand, you have young people, I mean, young pilots, cocky pilots, invincible because they need to go to war and actually be able to die for your country. On the other hand, you have Maverick, in this case, Tom Cruise, which is his late 50s, early 60s in the movie. And he trained those guys. And actually, not only he has the skills and have faced more experience and more situations, real life, that also creates your portfolio of solutions to deliver, but also he built a team.
Right.
So usually, I think experience pretty much obvious. As we say in Spanish, the devil knows more because he's old than he because he's evil, and also the be able to become a teacher and to spread the culture and the mindset and make other people better. So in a way, I think that's I would say don't. I mean, youth is not the guarantee or synonym of innovation. So watch out about that. And I think people with white hair or no hair, in my case, can add still much more value, not just on their job, particularly speaking, but also in the company because
And
they face many situations.
and you had a really good analogy when we spoke when you were
Yeah, the test pilots. I mean,
on,
those
on,
test
on
pilots.
another trip of yours. I can't remember
Yeah,
where you were. Where were you?
I was in Vietnam, I believe.
Oh yeah, in
I think
Vietnam. You had a
yeah,
really good analogy that, like some people have to pilot a jet fighter and some people, they have to pilot an airliner. And it's up to
yeah.
you to decide
When you have 100
who do you need
guys,
to do what,
exactly. I mean, you want to make sure the guy is not going to crash the plane. And
right?
and it's funny. I mean, even if you remember the movie Sully, and the guy. I mean, actually, none many people who tried that in the simulators crashed the plane. And because he had military experience and way too many hours flying, he was able to pull it out. I mean, and that's mileage, and you cannot teach that.
Yep.
And when you put that young with that white herd with passion, then you have a killer because you have the eager to still get more. I want to do more. I want to give impact to what I do with experience you have. I mean, when you combine those two things, passion and wisdom, if you want, without sound arrogant, I think that's a killer combination. That it will be a waste of talent if it's overlooked.
I agree. I totally agree. That's why I founded Your Gray Matters. But Mariano, I thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure. I
Yes,
wish you the
thanks.
best. You have a 305 phone number, so I assume at some point you are
Yeah,
in my hood.
yeah. My
So
wife,
give
my
me a
wife is
call.
waiting for me. So hopefully by the end of this week, I will be finally home.
So when you're here, let's go to Gracianos since you're Argentine and I love Gracianos.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely,
We'll set up a group. Let me know.
absolutely.
Okay, man.
Thanks to
Thank
you
you.
for the time. It was
No,
awesome.
no. Thank you for joining us. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.
Thanks.